Hello and welcome to Sreenath Academy. Today we are going to discuss about the 10th chapter in the 8th class, that is reaching the age of adolescence. So here we are going to discuss about each and every topic in briefing, and thereafter with in detail, and finally with the summarization. So here we can see generally in case of briefing we are going to discuss about how the human beings are undergoing the reproduction process and what is the mechanism behind the reproduction of the human beings. And coming to adolescence and the puberty, we can see the first topic is about this one. So what is puberty and what is adolescence? So it is the transition period between the childhood and the adult form. So the adult form and the childhood, the transition period is called as adolescence at the puberty. And we can see the adolescence is the age, or it's a teenager age where we can see the transition between the childhood and the adulthood. So coming to the changes at the puberty, that can be the increase in the height, or it can be like increase in the height. That is generally we can see the increase in the height of the individual when we are seeing in between the 8 to 18 years, we can see increase in the height of the individual. So comparatively, how we can see the length and the level of growth of the individual generally in terms of the complete growth of the individual, we can see the changes in the puberty. And we can see here that is the change in the body shape. So if it is in case of boys especially, we can see the increase in the broader shoulder and also broader in the body width of the individual. So coming to the voice change, we can see the voice box or larynx is the one which is involved in generating the voice. So here we can see in case of the people who are generally in the growing stage, we can see especially the boys are having a low pitch voice, and in case of females they are having the high pitch voice. So this change in the voice tendency from a childhood into a teenager is because of the voice box, which is generally seen as a protruding of the throat. That is in case of Adam's apple. So coming to the increase in the activity of the sweat and the sebaceous gland, we can see generally there is an increase in the activity of sweating and the sebaceous gland in case of individual which are attending the teenage. And we can see reaching the mental intellectual and also emotional maturity. So if you are seeing the people who are childish or who are in the early stage of teenager, we can see they are changing completely when they are attending the ending of the teenage. So here we can see the maturation in terms of physical, mental and also intellectual. And we can see one of the main the third topic is about the secondary sexual character. So here what are primary sexual character? They are the one by which we can distinguish whether the individual is a male or female. But in case of secondary sexual character, we can see the generation of the character, especially the body hairs in case of males, and also development of the breast in case of the female. So that is about the secondary sexual characters. And here we can see generally the hormones are the one which are chemical substances that is secreted by means of these endocrine glands. So endocrine glands and the endocrine system is the one which is generating the hormones, and we can see they are the one which are generally. So coming to the male hormones, we can see the male hormones are the one which are generally generated during these endocrine glands. We can see the male hormones or the testosterone which are developing the secondary sexual characters in the male, whereas the female hormone, that is the estrogen, which is generally generated during the development of the female individual. So here we can see the role of hormones in case of initiation of the reproductive functions. So here we can see what are the hormones and how they are targeting. So when you are seeing the hormones, so here we can see the cycle. The hormones are generally generated by the pituitary gland. Those hormones are showing the effect on the target organs like male organs and the female organs, and we can see the generation of the male sex hormone and the female sex hormone by means of these sex organs. So and this in turn they will be released into the blood, and they will have the target parts or the target sites of the body. So this will stimulate the generation of the changes within the body when one reaches the puberty. So coming to the reproductive phase of the life in the human beings, we can see the menstruation is the cycle or the process of release of ovum. So in case of ovulation process, it's begin with the menarche and it will end with the menopause. So this entire cycle, which is of ovulation cycle, which is between the beginning and the ending, is called as menstruation cycle. And here how the generally how the sex of the baby is determined. So here we can see if it is generally a boy or a girl. So generally we are having the two fundamental sexes, that is a boy and the girl. So boy is the one is having the Y chromosomes, and that is the one which is deciding to be the boy, and the girl is the one who are having the both the chromosomes, sex chromosomes to be the female one. So here we can see the sex of the body or the baby is generally determined, that is generally in case of male it is a Y chromosome, and in case of female, that is the girls, it's an X chromosomes. So coming to the hormone, that is other than the sex hormones, we can see generally which are taking place or which are generally showing the activity in the human beings. We can see different kind of hormones. So pituitary gland is the nothing but called as it's a master gland which is affecting the other or controlling the other glands like thyroid gland, endocrine gland, pancreas, and also some of the situations within the that is some of the positions within the ovary in the females and the testes. So these are the target organs or the glands which are targeted in the endocrine system. So coming to the role of hormone, that is completing the life cycle within the insects and the frogs, we can see generally in case of when we are discussing, so when we are discussing especially about the frogs, we have come across the term called as metamorphosis. So metamorphosis is nothing but it's a tendency of the animal, especially it may be frog or it may be insects, to change the completely the body shape and the functionality and the appearance of the body into other form. So this change in the functionality and appearance is called as metamorphosis, which is generally observed in case of amphibians like frogs and the insects. So insects hormones are the one which are involved in this particular process. We can see generally reproductive health. So in case of reproductive health, that is the both the physical and mental well-being of individual is very important for maintaining the health of the individual. And we can see coming to the this health is maintained by means of balanced diet in case of adolescence, that is a balanced diet or a balanced way how we can balance the individual of the diet of the individual, so that he will get all the nutrients which are required for the function of the body. So coming to the other kind of activities, that is about the personal hygienic. So maintaining some proper way of maintaining your clothes, and also your generally it's about the maintenance of your body is called as personal hygienic, that is taking a bath and also taking a proper care of your individual some of the private parts. And we can see some of the physical exercise is the one, it is a way by which we can have a very wonderful evening, because of that is encouraging the physical and the mental activity, and saying no to the drugs. So most of the adolescents people, they are generally prone to the drugs because of excitement and the reachability. So always say no to the drug in order to save your life and also to take care of yourself. So now we are going to discuss about in detail about the 10th chapter, that is reaching the age of adolescence, that is about the within the 8th class of the science. So here in case of introduction, we are discussing about the process of reproduction, how it is taking place. In case of human beings, we can see that a male and female human beings will be undergoing a process called as reproduction, so that they can give away a new individual or a new baby. So here for reaching that particular reproductive phase or the maturation phase, it is the every individual has to cross the childhood and also the adolescence. So here we can see adolescence and puberty. So here generally when we discuss, so it is a period between the 10 and 18 years or 19 years of an individual, where there is a start or it can be certain, sometimes it can be all overall sudden, or it can be a progress change in the physical and also mental status of the individual, where it is roughly starting at the 10 years and it will be continuing up to the 18 years. So this complete length of the individual between the 10 and 18 years is the nothing but called as the adolescence and the puberty. So the adolescence is nothing but it's an age, it is generally taking place during the entire lifetime, that is up to the 18 or 19 years, starting from 11 years of an average individual is called as adolescence. And this adolescence has been, that entire teenage has been started or triggered by the onset of the puberty. So onset of puberty is nothing but it's about the onset of the secondary sexual character, either it may be the females or it may be the males, where we can see complete onset of the secondary sexual character in the individual. That onset of secondary sexual character is called as puberty. So if you are taking the adolescence, so adolescence is the process where we can see that is between the 11 to 18 years of age, and we can see the puberty is the one which is generally, it's a starting point or a trigger point. So it's a starting point or trigger point for the adolescence to be coming over. So the puberty is the starting point where we can see the beginning of the secondary sexual characters. So coming to the changes which are taking place at the puberty, we can see the increase in the height. Either it may be the females or it may be males, that is the girls and boys. We can see there is an increase in the height, especially at the time of puberty. And when you are seeing the age group between 8 to 18, we can see there is a 100% chance, or we can see the very perfect growth of the individual, whether it's maybe boys or girls accordingly. And we can see generally this is 100% and according to the genetics of the individual. So coming to the changes in the body shape, so here we can see there are a number of notification or we can notify or the things which are generally taking place in the body shape. As we see in the males, we can see increase in the shoulder and increase in the height, and also we can see the overall the length of the individual can be increasing. And we can also say that the generally in case of females, we can see increase in the waist size of the individual. So these are the changes which are taking place within the body. So generally it will happen both in the males and the females. So voice box or the larynx is the one which is generally it plays a major role in generating the voice. So in case of males, we can see it's a low pitch voice. In case of females, it is high pitch voice, which is generally generated because of this Adam's apple, nothing but called as voice box or the larynx. So here we can see the voice box or the larynx is nothing but it's an Adam's apple which is involved in generating the voices. So here we can see the there is a, during the adolescence age, we can see the growth of the Adam's apple, especially seen in case of grown-up boys. So the grown-up boys are the one which are showing the Adam's apple, and because of this growth of the Adam's apple, that is the protruding of the larynx or the voice box, we can see the change in the voice of the individual. So coming to the next one, that is increasing the activity of the sweat and the sebaceous gland. So whether it may be the male or female, we can see the change in the odor or the smell of the body. So this change in the odor or the smell of the body is because of excess of secretion of the oil by the sebaceous gland and the sweat by the sweat gland. So this is generally taking place, and it is increasing during the hitting of the puberty and also in adolescence, that is the teenage. And sometimes in some of the individuals, because of the increase in the activity, we can say that there is increase in the activity of the skin, and also we can see they are generally absorbed in case of the individuals. So here we can see the development of the sex organs is the next one where we are connecting with this kind of activity. So the sex organs, especially whether it males or the females, in the males it is called as testes and females it is called as ovaries. So the testes and the ovaries are the male and female sex organs within the individual. So here we can see there is a development of the sexual organs in the size, in the length, and also in various ways. For example, there is an increase in the size of the testes and also increase in the length of the penis, and we can also see the increase in the ovulation pattern, that is in the ovaries of the individual, of the person, and that is generally during the development of the sex organs within the females. females. And apart from this, we can also say that there is a change in the mentality, intellectual and emotional maturity. So some of the individual, while they have been hit with the puberty or the adolescence, we can see overall change in the mentality and intellectual nature. So they can be immature during the childhood, but once they have reached the adolescence, we can see generally they are having the mental and the intellectual property, that is the intellectual way of thinking is also changes. So coming to the secondary sexual characters, in case of secondary sexual characters, what are the secondary sexual characters, whether it may be males and the females? In case of males, we can see generally it's about the facial hairs and also chest hair. So in case of males, it is about the development of the hair on the overall body. In case of females, we can see the development of breast and also formation of the we can see that the change in the voice also will be observed in case of females. So in the males and the females are the one which are generally having this particular change in the secondary sexual character. So for the changing the secondary sexual characters in case of males and the female, we can see that that is generally related with the hormone, that is endocrine glands. So endocrine glands are the one which are generally under the control of the brain. Either it may be pituitary gland, that is the master gland, or also the male and the female glands, that is the male and female organs. So in case of testes or the male hormone generating centers in case of males, and ovaries or the female hormone generating centers within the female. So all this cadre will be working or the functioning under the influence of the brain. So here we can see the male hormones or the testes or the testosterone are the one which are synthesized by the testes, whereas the female hormone, that is estrogen, which is generally synthesized in the female individual. So this is about the endocrine glands which are generally observed. So coming to the role of the hormones in case of reproductive functions, we can see the hormones, especially either it may be the male hormone or the female hormone, they are generally generated by that is the testosterone, estrogen. In case of males and females, they are generally generated from the pituitary gland. So the pituitary gland is the one which is generating the hormones, and we can see these hormones are having the target. They will be entering into the bloodstream, that is they will be reaching the target site. So it can be the armpits, it can be the facial parts, or it can be the chest, or anywhere they will have the target site. So the hormones are generated by the target, that is the sex organs are the one which are generating the hormones under the control of the brain and the pituitary gland, that is the master gland. These hormones are entering into the blood, and thereafter they will be having the target site, that is generally involved in changing or onset of the puberty, that is showing the or that is generally showing the stimulation of the changes. So here we can see generally that is the pituitary gland. So that pituitary gland is the one which is a master gland which is targeting the target organs. So here the target organs for the pituitary gland is the testes and the ovaries. So these are the one which are generally what is happening here. The target organs are generally generating. So the target organs are the one which are generally generating this hormone, that is the male and female hormones which are entering into the blood, and finally from the blood they will be again reaching the target tissue. So what are the target tissue? As we discussed, it can be the chest, or it can be the even it can be other, again it can be the testes or ovaries, it can be the privates, or it can be any part of the body. So coming to the reproductive phase of the life, that is in case of humans, we can see the menstruation cycle is the process where we can see the beginning of the ovulation. So especially in case of females, when they start with the puberty, when they strike the adolescence, that is the puberty, the first character which they show is the menstruation cycle, that is the ovulation process. So in case of ovulation process, the beginning of the ovulation process is by the menarche and ending is because of the menopause. So the first cycle which is taking place in the female individual is called as menarche, and the end cycle is called as menopause. So this can be starting at early of 12 to 13 years, whereas menopause is the one which is generally starting at the late age between the 40 to 50 years. So here we can see the reproductive phase which is taking place in the life of the individual cycle. So here in case of ovulation, So in case of ovulation, we can see the start of the ovulation cycle. So the entire ovulation cycle or the ovum formation is called as ovulation, where we can see generally at the end of the ovulation cycle there is a discharge. So what is this discharge called as? It is an uterine discharge, which is generally the removal of the uterine walls along with the unfertilized egg from the uterus. So this is generally taking place at the end of the ovum cycle, that is the ovulation process, where we can see that is generally discharge of the uterine wall, and this ovulation process will be stopping at the age of 45 to 50 years. So coming to the baby, if you are seeing the how they decide what are the factors which are generally deciding the sex of the baby. So whether it may be male baby or a female baby, what are the factors which are generally differentiate the male baby from the female baby. So if you are discussing that, the first one, it is starting with the basic level, that is about the chromosomes. So the chromosomes are nothing but the genetic material, that is the thread-like structure which is having all the information which are needed for the functioning of the cell. So those are these chromosomes which are generally involved in deciding the sex of the individual or the baby. We can see that generally these chromosomes are nothing but called as sex. So chromosomes are the basic things which are generally even deciding the functioning of the cell and also about the deciding the sex of the individual. So if you are taking the Y chromosome, if it is present in the individual, then the baby will be male. If both the chromosomes are X, so we can see generally the baby will be female. So here we can see that the Y is the one which is the deciding factor, and double X is the one which is deciding factor for developing the female individual. So here these are the basic factors which are deciding the sex of the individual. So for the baby either to develop into male or female in the future need, that is generally recorded in the chromosomes, and the chromosomes are the one which are generally showing the factor, that is generally showing the factors or the things which are developing the sex of the individual. So as we see in the diagram, that is the sex determination in the human beings. If the male is the one who is having the ability to decide the sex of the individual or sex of the fetus. So if we see generally, if we see that is if the sperm is having X chromosomes, and if some of the sperms are having the Y chromosome. So if this X sperm is fusing with the X ovum, we can see the generation of the XX female. So if it is Y chromosomes, generally the Y chromosome, if it is mixing or meeting with the X chromosome, then it is leading to the formation of X and Y. So here we can see generally that is generally the female ones are the one which are generally formed as a result of fusion of the X chromosome containing sperm with the X chromosome containing ovum. If it is a male baby, then we can see the Y chromosome containing sperm. If it is fusing with the X, that is the ovum, we can see generally the generation of the male baby. So here we can see the female is constant, but the males are the one which are generally they are the one which are not constant, and they are the one which are deciding the sex of the individual. So coming to the hormone that is other than the sex hormone. So as we see in the diagram, they are the other hormones which are generated from the other glands. For example, pituitary gland is nothing but called as master gland, which is involved in synthesizing the hormone which will regulate all the glands of the body. So it can be the next one, it's about the thyroid gland, which is generating the thyroid hormone, which is involved in maintaining the metabolism of the body and also fertility of the individual. And next one, it's about the adrenal gland, which is generating different kind of hormones. Either it may be epinephrine or norepinephrine, or it may be mineralocorticoids or glucocorticoids. So the main agenda of this hormone which are generated by the adrenal gland is to maintain the sodium and water balance, and also maintain the glucose levels within the body, and also maintaining the proper mental health, and also proper and quick response to an stimuli. So apart from that, we can also see the pancreas is the one which is generating the hormones, that is especially insulin hormone under the control of the pituitary gland. And when we see the females are the one which are holding the ovaries, which are generating the eggs under the stimulation of the brain and also hormonal stimulation, and the testes are the one which are generally involved in secreting the male hormones and also the semen. So coming to the hormones which are playing a major role in completing the life cycle of H3 and the that is the insects and the frog, we can see generally the metamorphosis is the one which is generally involved in changing the process, that is during the changes between the larva and the adult, that is especially in case of frog and insects we can see the complete change of the body form. Either in case of frog we can see the change from the tadpole to the adult frog, that is nothing but called as metamorphosis, and we can see the insect hormones are the one which are generally involved in causing or controlling the metamorphosis in the insects. And we can see generally the coming to the reproductive health, here we can see the how we can maintain the reproductive stage of the individual, especially the female, how we can maintain the health of the female. So here we have to keep in mind that the nutritional needs of the adolescents should be keep in mind, so that because they have huge demand and we should have a supply of different variety of nutrients to need the sexual development which are taking place in both in males and the females, and also about the growth and the overall physical and mental development should also be done in a perfect phase, and that should be supported by means of this nutritional needs, that is the nutritional support of the individual. So it is always advised to take the balanced diet. It is containing all the minerals, vitamins, carbohydrates, proteins, and different range of fibers which are generally involved in nourishing and maintaining the balance of the individual. So the balanced diet should also contain various of vitamins which will support the reproductive phase, and especially during the loss of the uterine wall during the completion of the menstrual cycle. So during the end of the ovulation or menstruation cycle, we can see the complete loss of the blood and the tissue from the body. So to cope up with that kind of loss, we have to give the nutritional amount in an additional form. So coming to the personal hygienic, we can see the persons should maintain a proper hygienic condition in order to maintain the cloth, and also maintaining personal cleanliness and also other kind of cleanliness along with the wearing the proper clothes. So that is the personal hygienic is the one which is generally an important factor which is generally involved in this particular maintenance. And coming to the physical exercise, we can see the physical exercise is the one which is keeping the physical, that is a physical health and the mental health in a proper state. So with the proper diet and having a good environment and also physical exercise are the very much needed for the overall development of the individual. And coming to the next major thing, that is nowadays the people of this country, especially the teenagers who are facing the problem is the drug problem, because of excitation and also because of the cooperation and the support from the other similar age group people. We can see the people are very prone to the drugs, and we can see the drugs are the one which are spoiling the life of the individual. Other than this, we should also discuss about the other major problem which is generally involved in case of developing countries, that is AIDS, which is caused by the HIV virus. So consent protection should be taken in order to have a safe sex, that is using some kind of protection that is during the sexual process. So till now we have discussed in detail about all the topics which are generally correlated in this particular chapter, that is reaching the adolescence age. Now we are going to summarize each and every topic in this particular chapter. So coming to the summarization of the topic of this particular 10th chapter, that is reaching the age of the adolescence. So here we are discussing about adolescence and the puberty. So here it's about the adolescence, which is generally discussing in case of teenage life, that is generally because of the onset of the puberty. And we also discuss about the changes which are taking place at the puberty, that is increase in the height, and also some of the physical changes, that is changes in the body shape and the size, that is including the voice of that is a change of the voice. And we can see the development of the sex organs, that is about in case of puberty, after touching we can see the size and the shape of the sex organs also will be changes, and it also go under enlargement. We can see the generally reaching the intellectual and emotional maturation and also mental health. And coming to the secondary sexual character, we can see the development of secondary sexual character, that is generally that is generally development of hair on the chest, and also in case of girls we can see the development of the breast and the waist. And we can see some of the other hormones which are playing a major role in case of this one is the sex hormones like progesterone, estrogen, and also testosterone are the one which are generally involved in this particular process. And coming to the roles of the hormones, they are generally involved in the reproductive functions. And generally it is about the role of the hormones which are generally taking place, and it is the one which is generally absorbed under the control. So the brain are the one which are controlling the master gland. The master gland is the one which is controlling the target organ, that is male and the female sex organ, and they are the one which are generating the hormones, and these hormones are having the target sites within the different parts of the body. So this is about the onset of the puberty. So coming to the reproductive phase of the life in the humans, we can see the menstruation is the very important process, which is a turning process which is taking place in the females. And we can see menarche is the first point of ovulation, and menopause is the last, or it is the end of the ovulation process. So menopause is the one which is starting with it is generally of 26 to 28 days of duration, where it start with the hormonal trigger and release of the ovum. If the ovum has not released, if not fertilized, finally there is a shedding down of the uterine walls. So coming to the sex of the baby, generally as we said, the boy or girl is the one which is primarily decided, that is generally based on the primary sexual characters, but those primary sexual characters are generally developed as a result of the chromosomes which are playing a major role. So it may be the Y chromosome which is generally involved in the male baby, and X chromosome, that is double copy of X, is the one which is generating the female copy, that is the female individual. So coming to the hormone, other than the sex hormones, we can see generally other than the sex hormones, we can see the thyroid gland, pituitary gland, adrenal gland, also pancreas. These are the one which are holding the metabolism of the body. So other than the human beings, we can also see the role of the hormones in the transformation of the insects and the amphibians. So here we can see metamorphosis is the stage or the insect hormone, where we can see the change in the shape of the individual or the insect. So here, and after this we are also discussing about the reproductive health. So in case of reproductive health, we have to keep in mind about the nutritional need of the adolescent, and also about the balanced diet. And apart from that, we can also wind up that is generally maintaining the personal hygienic condition of the individual. And we can also see the physical exercise is the one which is generally involved in maintaining the exercise. And finally, we have to say that there is a big no for the individual to take the drug out of excitation or out of having some curiosity, and to develop or to increase their the physical and the mental potential. And we can also discuss that the AIDS is the one which is generally involved. So AIDS is the one which is generally caused by means of HIV. So be careful and take care of your personal interest when you are going for any kind of physical intentions. You have to take care of taking care of using the safety for stopping the spreading of the AIDS. So that is a very dangerous disease. So these are the different things which we have been discussed under the 10th chapter, that is the age of the adolescence. So try to go through the topic each and every bit, and if you are having any doubt, you can write down in the comment box, and you can consult us. And also thank you for watching, and share with your friends, and also subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.